Oh yeah, you know what time it is. Well, it's a little too loud. Can't hear me very well. There we go. Bring it down a little bit so you can hear what's really important, which is my voice. Welcome to the Tolkien Road, episode 156. Greta, how you doing?
Hey. I'm good, John. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Terrific.
Doing pretty well. So we're talking about The Hobbit, Chapter 10.
A warm welcome.
A warm welcome, that's right. A warm welcome to all of you, our listeners.
Yes.
To the podcast.
The warmest of welcomes.
The warmest of welcomes. Yes, indeed. Have I mentioned before this is a really long theme song?
But it's so rad.
It is radical. You know, what are we even doing with that theme? I mean, like, this is a show about Tolkien and fantasy literature, and we have, like, techno, Miami Vice.
I thought we decided
Poor man's Miami Vice theme.
It was Dance Club at Rohan.
Oh, yeah.
Or a dance club in Rohan.
That's right. We did decide that.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's what I decided.
Yeah.
So I think it totally works.
Boom.
Yep.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. Special thanks to our patrons. You all rock. We want to invite everybody who's listening.
Try that again.
What?
Didn't sound like you really meant it.
You rock. Our patrons rock.
Yes.
Of course I mean it.
I know you meant it, but it just didn't sound like you meant it. I wanted to give you a do-over.
Oh, okay. Well, you do.
I just say it with a little more.
Okay, patrons,
meaning.
You do indeed rock. Fine. Why don't you say it?
You want me to say it?
Yes.
Our patrons rock. Like, totally rock.
We had to redo that. I had to actually bleep what she said in the first place. So it was, we had to go back and do that all over again.
Lies.
So it threatened to ruin our clean rating on iTunes.
Come on, live a little. Live a little.
I thought I knew you, Greta. I thought I knew you.
Well,
All right,
so you don't know as much as you thought you did.
Hey, don't forget to pledge $1 or more per episode over on patreon.com/TolkienRoad. If you like this podcast, indeed, we know you love this podcast. So show your love, right? For less than the price of a cup of coffee, of a good cup of coffee.
Way less than
right?
the price of a good cup of coffee.
Right? You can pledge and support each episode of this podcast. And by the way, if you're scared that we're going to you're going to pledge like $5 per episode, because some people do that, right? Some people pledge $5, which is awesome. So if you're scared that we're going to you're going to pledge and then we're going to record like 20 episodes in 1 month, you can set a limit, right? You can set a monthly limit on how much you actually want to pay at most, right? So if you don't want to pay any more than $5 total, you can pledge $5 and just say one episode per month, right? And then all the other episodes that come after that, like we're not going to do any like funny stuff where we're like, well, you don't get these other episodes, and all the episodes are free, right? So just saying, like, you can control. This puts the power all in your hands, however you want to do it. We just ask that if you really love this podcast, we just really ask you that you would support it if you can in this way.
Yes.
So, and speaking of support, the way that the totally like democratic way that anybody can support this, regardless of whether they're actually able to give money, is of course to go and rate us on iTunes or whatever app you listen to. And you listen to us on, and leave us that 5-star rating. Those 5-star ratings are the easiest way you can help get the word out about the Tolkien Road. And if you want, you can actually also say something really nice about us. It's super easy if you're listening on like the iTunes podcast app to leave us a 5-star rating. You just have to find our podcast, scroll down, and hit 5 stars. That's all you got to do. So
you don't even have to type anything.
You don't
even have to leave a comment.
But again, if you want to be one of those people that leaves a comment, we'll read it on the podcast, on a future episode, right? Mm-hmm. So we got some other ones that left ones today that we'll be getting to. And thanks to everybody since our last one. I know we talked a lot about that last time. So thanks to everybody who went out and hit the 5-star rating for us last time.
Thank you.
And if you haven't done that yet, please do that. So 2 great ways that you can support this podcast. And we appreciate any support that you give.
Very, very much, yes.
So, all right. So, as we've gotten in the habit of doing lately, before we jump into the episode, we are going to talk about our good friend Latron Prime.
Latron Prime.
Latron Prime update
in the
time.
house.
It's Latron Prime update time.
You need another theme song for that.
Oh, well.
Yeah, just for next time.
Just for next time?
For next
okay,
time.
I'll forget, though. So
it just felt really awkward there, like to say Latron Prime time.
I think the
silence.
actual theme song we've been using should have been the Latron Prime theme song. Like, maybe we'll do that in the future.
And just use a different one for the opener? Maybe.
I feel like we
could
need
try
like
that.
I feel like we need like, like something Celtic or something like that for our lead-in music,
Maybe
but
something a little more elven.
But that's just not us.
It's not.
That's not us.
It's not.
That's not how we roll. I feel like it should be The Winds of Change by the Scorpions.
Maybe something by Enya.
Because she did music for Fellowship. Yeah.
She did. That's right. But it just is very like natural.
An evening star. Maybe it can be me singing Enya's song.
I think that's a winner.
I think that's what people want to hear.
I think you're right.
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody out there is like, John, we're waiting for you to do your cover of Enya's.
When's the John Carswell Enya cover album coming out?
Soon. Especially, hey, we'll make that a goal for Patreon. I'm serious. Actually, hey, if we can raise, if we can...
Careful.
If we can get to the goal...
Don't say something you're going to regret.
If we can get to that goal...
I'm going to regret.
Then I will do that. I will record. I will start setting goals of recording Enya covers for this podcast,
Guys,
for those who patronize this podcast.
I'm sorry.
That's a great idea, Greta. You're the only one that's sorry here. Everybody else is like, thank you, Greta. Thank you for this idea. You just heard a little sample there of what I can do, so you want to hear the rest of this. So let's make it happen, people. I expect by this time next week that you'll have all gone and pledged more than $1 per episode, so that we can actually make this Enya cover series happen. Right?
You are pretty good with GarageBand. I don't doubt you could make it happen.
I could make it happen.
I know you could.
Yeah. You see, she
I've
really
already come around, guys. I think this is actually a really good idea.
So,
all right. Well, now you have it. You have your marching orders, people.
There you go. All right. So, Latron Prime update, as we were saying.
Yes.
So really, no new news on Latron Prime. Nothing. No new tweets as of late since the last episode. But there's something I discovered, Greta. You gotta see this. Okay. I know everybody's thinking that this is going to be about Numenor and the Second Age, okay? And maybe it'll take place in the Second Age, but I discovered something on the map, and it's this sea monster right here between Numenor and Southern Umbar. And I think that this is going to be the real focus of this television series, right? I think this is what we're really in for. I think they're trolling us. I think they hid this and they were like, ooh, the Second Age and ooh, Numenor and all this kind of stuff to get us thinking like it's going to be about Numenor when really it's going to be even better. This is going to be like Lord of the Jaws, right? Or Jaws of the Rings.
Jaws of the Rings.
Right?
Wow.
Okay.
No, I don't think anybody saw that coming.
Yeah, nobody.
Is that sea monster really on the map?
Yeah.
You don't think it's just waves?
Does that look like waves to you? The only alternative explanation that I actually saw when I posted this to Facebook that really makes sense to me was
submarine. It's a submarine.
No, it's not a submarine.
Not a submarine.
No.
A dolphin.
It's Olmo's Mohawk.
Oh.
Yeah. So I got to give credit to, let me see who that was that said that. That was doodly-doo-doo-doo.
They need mad props for that, whoever that was.
I know. I was like, you're the winner. That's obviously what it is.
I would love it if they focused on Olmo. That would be so good.
He might show up. It was Eric Hedman.
Eric.
Yeah, he said that's Olmo's Mohawk.
Dude.
And I seriously laughed out loud when I saw that comment. So
that's too good.
Yeah.
Like that deserves some kind of prize.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well done, Eric.
Well done. Well done indeed, Eric.
So what do you think? Sea monster or almost Mohawk?
We'll just have to wait and see, but I am convinced at this point that that's that's actually going to be the subject of the show, and Amazon's just kind of trolling us, right? They're making us think that it's something, a little deflection, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think this, I mean, it's obvious, right? Like if you could do Jaws and Middle Earth, why wouldn't you? Right?
It's true. Jaws was a blockbuster hit.
Exactly.
So why wouldn't you ride that wave?
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
Literally, ride that wave.
Literally.
Good one.
Thanks.
All
Wow.
right.
That's
So-
actually kind of cool.
So you heard it here first, people. You heard it here first. You know who
We
to
have
attribute
cracked
it
the
to.
code.
That's right. You can thank us by going to patreon.com/TolkienRoad and donating. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So on to The Hobbit, Chapter 10. That my notes say barrels out of bond,
Yes,
but it
that's
should
wrong.
say a warm welcome. I'm going to change
A
that right
warm
now just so
welcome.
there's no confusion about this. All right. So thoughts on this chapter before we dive in?
Not my favorite.
Yeah, it's kind of boring.
It's a little boring. Not a whole lot happens.
It almost feels like a little bit of filler.
It kind of does.
I'm a little thankful because it wasn't very hard to prepare for this one.
Yeah.
You know?
And it didn't take too long to read, so that's
Right.
nice.
But yeah, not a lot happens here. But we're going to talk about what there is to talk about. So have no
Okay.
fear.
Sounds good.
All right. So first, this was cool. So thanks to the annotated Hobbit, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I've got right here holding in my hands.
Mm-hmm.
You will find out, and some of you may have already realized this, but according to the annotated Hobbit, this takes place during it's Bilbo's birthday time around this, right? And
How do we know that?
We know that because in Lord of the Rings, he says, this is the anniversary of my arrival by barrel at Esgaroth on the Long Lake. Though the fact that it was my birthday slipped my memory on that occasion. I was only 51 then, and birthdays did not seem so important. So
that's cool.
60 years before Lord of the Rings, right before his 11th birthday, right?
Got it.
51st to 11th, right?
Okay.
So this is exactly 60 years before the beginning of the Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
So
That's good perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to set this a little bit in context, give you a little bit of a timeline how it relates to Lord of the Rings.
Good.
A lot of landscape to open up this chapter. You know, Bilbo gets his first glimpse of the Lonely Mountain.
Yes.
And have you ever, I know we've been to like the ocean and seas and that kind of thing. Have you ever been to an inland body of water, a landlocked body of water that's so large that it looks like the ocean to you?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
That it looks like the ocean. I've been to Lake Erie.
That's pretty big.
It's pretty
one
big.
of the Great Lakes.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the only one that springs to mind right now.
Yeah. That's good enough.
Okay.
So, I was just thinking about that. I think, and I know it's technically like it connects right to the ocean, but I think like, there's parts of like Chesapeake Bay and stuff like that
yes,
are pretty large like that.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
So I think this is kind of like that. It's one of these where it's so wide that, so it's actually long, like from north to south. So he can see the mountain, but it's like he can't see the north end of the lake. He can't see the north shore. He can just see the mountain, I guess, rising over it, like kind of out of the sky, maybe, or even looking like it's coming out of the lake itself. But this is pretty big lake apparently. And actually, I look at the map here, and it looks like the Lonely Mountain is significantly further up from the north end of the lake. But anyway, this is a big lake, and he sees the mountain too, and he's like, I don't like the look of that mountain. Right?
Yeah, it looks a little creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, dark, and
of course it's probably being formed in his mind by, everything he's heard about the dragon that lives there, and
probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
not like this was a journey and like we're going to arrive at our journey and then all of our hard stuff is over, it's like we're arriving and this is going to be the hardest part even after all the hard stuff we've been through already.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that will color your perception a little bit.
Yes, absolutely.
So Greta, without looking at my notes, don't look at my notes.
Okay.
All right, I think you already peeked, but we're going to test you here. All right. So it says, only from the map did Bilbo know the way up there where the stars of the Wain were already twinkling. What is the Wain? W-A-I-N.
The stars of the Wain.
Yeah.
I cheated.
I know you did. You looked.
I did. I even cheated. I even looked after you told me not to, because I didn't want to look stupid on the radio show.
Go ahead and tell the audience.
No, you should tell them.
No, you should tell. I asked you.
It's dishonest on
I
my
talk
part.
too much as it is. You need to talk more.
The Wain is the Great Dipper.
The Great Dipper.
The Great Dipper. The biggest dipper of all.
The Big Dipper.
Big Dipper.
Yes, the Big Dipper.
Dip, 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 dip.
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 There's that song, was it? Bom, 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 bang, bang, bang.
No, it's
ding, ding,
ba
ding,
ba 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 dang a dang dang a ding a dong ding blue moon.
Oh, I thought that they said dip, dip, dip in that one. I guess they don't.
Dip to dip dip. Ba 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 ba. Oh,
all right, what do you
the 50s. Oh, I gotta pull it up now.
No, but it doesn't even say dip in it. Does it?
Yes, it does.
Oh, we just weren't singing that part. Okay.
Let's see here. There's like 15 different songs
No,
called Blue
Elvis,
Moon.
Elvis
Is this one?
Presley.
Yeah, this is it.
covered
This is it. No, he's got a different. I think he's got a different version of it.
Oh, probably. Dang, I love that song. I wish I lived in the 50s. I think a good old-fashioned sock hop. You know, they had a sock hop when I was like in fifth grade. I loved it. My mom made me a poodle skirt, and I wore saddle shoes. Oh, I loved that music. I do love that
actively
music.
mentally throwing up right now.
Come on. You don't like that? Oh, man. I love it.
I'm fine with the music. It's not what I'd listen to normally, but I just like thinking about like I kind of like, I like the nostalgia of it.
Yeah.
But I would not like it's embarrassing to me to think about like trying like do like pull that off now or something like that. Like I love Back to the Future. It takes place in 1955.
True.
So I like, I do like the nostalgia of it. Not a fan of Grease. I see Grease right here.
I love Grease.
I was getting mentally threw up a little bit there.
It's amazing that we get along as well as we do, considering how much our tastes differ in this area.
Well, good thing marriages aren't based on your opinion of 1950s.
That's true.
Cheesy culture.
But now I know if I ever get invited to a sock hop, I will go with someone else.
Okay. Well, there you go.
I'll take one of our boys.
No, all right.
Sound good?
Okay, that's better than what I was thinking initially when you said that. So.
Yeah. It was really fun. The sock hop was really fun.
This episode is getting real. Man.
All right, we should probably get on track. Yeah, the Wain. The
Wain. So it is the Big Dipper, not the Large Dipper. Ursa Major.
I said the Great Dipper.
Ursa Major. Apparently in England, they, at least in the, maybe in olden times, maybe they still do, I think they call it the plow. So that's interesting.
That is interesting.
That's what he's talking about. He's talking about the stars of the Big Dipper of Ursa Major. So
got it.
That's what he's starting to see up there.
Why does he refer to it as the Wain? Do you know? What's the origin of that word?
I looked this up too. I'm not sure if it was in the annotated Hobbit or not. Oh.
You test me, I test you right back.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Don't worry, I'm Googling it.
You got tested.
Oh, look at this. It's archaic. It means a wagon or cart.
There you go.
So I guess kind of like a plow. Was that? No, that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, it says these stars are more commonly known in England as the plow and in America as the Big Dipper.
Huh.
I believe, I may be wrong about this, and I should have looked this up, but I think I think these are the same stars that are referred to as like the sickle, in like the first age. So let's see.
Oh, okay.
Big Dipper. The 7 stars. All right, here we go. 7 stars is a common symbol throughout Arda. It refers to the constellation that turns through the northern skies every night of the year. To the elves, this was Valacirca, I don't know, that signaled the downfall of Morgoth, but the men of the northern lands called it simply the Wain. The 7 stars are today known as the Plough or the Big Dipper. The doors of Durin also displayed 7 stars with a crown, probably representing Durin's crown. 7 stars was also the symbol of Elendil, the leader of the faithful, and his heirs, representing the 7 ships of the faithful with a palantir. The crown of Gondor bore 7 jewels of adamant set in the circlet. So very actually significant. Glad we looked into that, right?
Yeah, same.
It's the 7 stars that signal the downfall of Morgoth. So, and I actually used those on my on the cover of Tolkien's Requiem. I used the 7-star symbol.
That's right, you did.
Yeah, spiffy.
Very cool. Nice connection.
Nice.
Indeed.
Nice. All right. Moving on.
Yep.
So there's some things in this chapter that are like, that are just kind of cool little things to note, like cool little asides that kind of make you scratch your head. Like the Wain is one, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The next one that I found was this reference to a greater town on the shores of the lake that's no longer there. Do you remember that?
Yes, I didn't it was something that used to be there, right?
Yeah.
But nobody really knows much about it or remembers much about it.
Yeah, apparently including Tolkien, because according to the annotated Hobbit, no one knows anything more. Like he never wrote anything more about this town that used to be there. But as you know, that's something that I love about Tolkien is there's all you could write about that, right?
Yeah, you could.
You could write about whatever that town was, and obviously he had something in mind because he wouldn't have just randomly mentioned a greater town without thinking like having some idea of what it was.
Right. Yeah.
I just feel like he always had some idea when he puts a reference in there. He's like, that's something I want to write about sometime.
Yes.
So just another cool little thing he meant, to bring up.
Yeah.
Little footnote, little aside.
Just gives you a little insight into how vast the imagination of Tolkien really was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, we kind of got to come up with stuff like that in this chapter because there's not a whole
lot
else that goes
on.
on.
Not a whole lot else that goes on.
So.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Mm-hmm.
Laketown.
Oh, I thought you had something else.
Oh, no. I was just, All
right. Yeah. So we kind of get the setting, the scene set, and then we find out about Laketown. It's this town built out. There's a cool picture in most editions of The Hobbit, Tolkien's drawing of it. It's this town actually built out on the water.
It's built on the water.
Yeah, that's kind of cool, right?
Really cool.
So they got that long bridge that goes to it. It's guarded.
Mm-hmm.
And they end up the barrels go ashore, and Bilbo pulls them all out, pulls all the dwarves out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, well, let's go to Laketown. But important note, this is something that I feel I need to mention because of my strong feeling in this area. Keeley makes the important point that he never wants to he never wants to smell or taste an apple again. Right?
Yeah.
Because he's in this barrel filled with apples. And I'm just saying, I hear you, brother. Like, I hate fruit. Does anybody else out there hate fruit? Greta always makes me feel weird because I hate fruit.
We don't have in common. We're talking about all the things that we disagree on this episode, apparently. I absolutely love almost all fruit, and apples are actually one of my favorites. Yeah. I love a good apple.
I mean, I've eaten my fair share of apples in my life.
You do love apple pie.
I do. I liked it. I like fruits baked into things, but I'm just like, I don't really hate all fruit, but I actually like more vegetables than I like fruit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is about fruit. It's just like I've got to really be in the mood, or and there's just certain types of fruits that I can't deal with.
There's a couple fruits that I don't really care for, but most of the time I love them.
Yeah.
I really do. And I think a lot of the times, like if you want something sweet, but you want something healthier than a cookie. I mean, a juicy apple is like.
Well, it makes me kind of wonder if when I was a young child or something, I got like stuck in a barrel of fruit, and it's just like such a bad memory that I've like buried it like in my subconscious and forgotten about it.
Maybe we should hypnotize you and figure out where this is coming from.
Maybe. Yeah.
But what's funny is all of our children love fruit.
I know.
All of them.
Yeah.
I think some of them actually like it more than I do.
Yeah, like Brannick will just like, I mean, both like, I know we had that like fruit salad left. We went to somewhere. You make fruit salad a lot when we go over to somebody else's house, and I ate none of it, and so there's always some left over, and then Brennan like had the big fruit salad container, and he opens it up, and he just sits there and like he's like reading his Peanuts comics, and he's like eating fruit,
just like taking handfuls of fruit.
He reading his Peanuts comics, takes a couple of handfuls of fruit, just munching on it while he reads. And then he like goes and like, runs the bases through the house a couple of times, and then comes back and gets some more fruit. He keeps reading Peanuts. It's like his routine.
The life of a kid.
Yes, I know.
Love it. I love it.
It is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I know. It made me a little cringe a little bit, though. It made me sad that, was it Keeley or Feely? I can't remember.
It was Keeley.
I think.
Maybe it was Feely.
I know it was one of them.
Hold on. Pull it up right here.
It did make me a little sad because I feel like he's really missing out on life now. Like
it's Feely.
It is Feely, so I was right.
I hope I never smell the smell of apples again. Right?
Mm-hmm. What's really funny to me though was with that whole scene was how how many dwarves are there? There's 12. Is that right?
It's 14.
There's 14 dwarves. No, I thought
13?
Bilbo. Oh yeah, because they didn't want to be lucky number 13. They didn't want to be unlucky 13. That's why they invited Bilbo along as the 14th. Is that right?
Now I'm like messing myself. I think it's 14 actually.
Okay, I thought there was not that.
Oh no, you're right. 13.
Yeah, that's why they had Bilbo along, so that they wouldn't be unlucky 13. Anyway, so there's 13 dwarves on this expedition.
Yeah.
And out of out of all those 13, only 3 came out of the barrels like able to function. I thought that was really funny.
Oh yeah, why'd you think that was funny?
It showed like you just think of them as like these big, tough, dwarves, like they're bulky and they're strong and all the things, and they like almost all of them almost die like riding in these barrels.
Right.
I'm not saying it was an easy passage, but I just thought they were tougher than that.
Yeah. I mean
I'm not saying it was an easy journey. Barrels are not my preferred mode of transportation on the water, but
just think about like being in like, completely cooped up in something, right? Like, and you're like all twisted around in a weird way, and then like you're like bumping around and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be.
That's
and
true.
then in like sensory deprivation too, like
sensory deprivation, that would be the worst.
No vision.
They're probably super dehydrated too.
Yeah, they're hungry, just like.
And Feely and
that'd
Keely,
be pretty miserable.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta really want to escape from wherever you are to be willing to do that.
Yeah,
so.
I guess that's true. But Feely and Keely, I know it made the point that they were young for dwarves, and then Thorin, he's of royal lineage, so it makes sense that he would have done okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that was a poor percentage of functional dwarves.
Okay. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. And how they were described, I thought was really funny too.
Right on.
Like wet dogs and all the.
Oh, right.
Like
yeah.
Anyway. Sorry, I'm just trying to find things to talk about.
No, you're good.
Okay.
You're good. I like this long dialogue on fruit.
It seemed like I was boring you.
You're not boring me.
We weren't talking about fruit. We were talking about wet dogs.
Oh yeah, fruit, wet dogs. What's the difference?
Okay.
That's what I always say.
Right on. Okay.
Sorry, I was kind of making some audio equipment adjustment there too, so a little bit distracted by that.
Yeah. Okay.
I realized that what I was doing to try to make you a little louder actually wasn't doing that. It was just making the right side of people's headphones sound louder for both of us on an equal level. So then I'm trying to turn you up here a little bit.
Am I not talking loud enough?
I'm just loud.
That's true.
I am loud. And you're not very loud. Most people aren't as loud as I am.
True.
I always feel like I'm louder, and then you're not as loud as me. So I'm just trying to compensate for that a little bit. So
got it.
Whoa! Don't blow people's eardrums here.
Well, jeez.
See that spike?
Can't.
You see that spike right there?
Yeah.
People's eardrums just shattered.
I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah. Good job. All right. So, well, they arrive, and here's the deal. People in this Laketown, they have been. There's this kind of prophecy going back a long time that says that the Mountain King shall return.
Right.
The king under the mountain shall return.
Mm-hmm.
But like lots of things like that, the longer on it goes that he doesn't actually return, the more people just kind of start to think that it's like, oh, that's just this old saying.
Old wives' tale.
Old wives' tale. It's not really going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And so, there's still some people that talk about it, but most of the young folks, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, shut up, you old geezers, right?
Where did this prophecy come from?
That's a good
question. Do you know where it got its roots?
That's a good question. Was it in the first chapter? Did they talk about it in the first chapter, maybe? In
the first chapter of The Hobbit?
Yeah, I think it may have been, who knows? Maybe it was just some, random person in Laketown. The first chapter of The Hobbit. Maybe it was just some random person in Laketown because where do these prophecies come from in the first place? To be able to prophesy that, there probably has to be some kind of divine thing, right? Supernatural thing. But also it could have just been when when Thror left because of Smaug, he may have said, "I shall return." Right?
True. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, when General MacArthur during World War II got when the Japanese attacked the Philippines, he had to evacuate the Philippines, but he said, "I shall return." Right? And then 4 years later, he returned. Right? It was like this big triumphant return to the Philippines. So,
I like Terminator too.
I'll be back. Oh, except that wasn't a good thing.
That's true.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Let's see. Maybe there's a little bit of Mountain King. Let's see on King Under the Mountain.
Yeah, maybe it was just something that somebody heard one of them say.
Yeah, maybe. The certain motif in various mythologies. Yeah. So anyway, it's definitely got this messianic tone to it, right? And of course, it's interesting. Like, I think this is this sort of idea in a lot of like legends and mythologies that I think Tolkien liked to allude to, right? This is a it obviously, the Lord of the Rings is in large part about the return of the king, the return of Aragorn, right? The return of the King of Gondor. So,
yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
So here we have. It's just interesting to me that Tolkien works that into both of his books, right? To both The Hobbit, this whole idea of that the returning king, this prophesied returning king, who people kind of don't believe will actually return anymore, will someday return.
Right.
Right. And actually is returning now. Right. Mm-hmm. So that's a part of his story. It's a very dramatic thing and a very big deal. And it kind of, it's this whole idea of like that the legends actually do come true.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That the legends actually, like the things that people have, it's gone so long that people are just like, oh yeah, that's just a saying. It doesn't really have any meaning. It's just something that people used to say once upon a time. And who really believes that there was ever a king under the mountain anyway? And it even says they don't believe there's actually a dragon there. Like a lot of people don't believe. A lot of people
don't, right?
Because they haven't seen
Especially
Smaug in such a long time.
Yeah. So,
which is an interesting note. That makes me think of The Usual Suspects. You know why? The movie The Usual Suspects. Because that's the movie with the line where it says, what does it say? It says, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled is convincing the world he didn't exist.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. That's right.
It's like the greatest trick that Smaug ever pulled is convincing Laketown that he didn't exist.
That he didn't exist.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely right. About how many years would have passed now? Like from Smaug's victory to now.
Let's see. So
dwarves live a long time. Right?
Yeah, so Thror was the king under the mountain until 2770 of the Third Age.
Okay.
And then Thorin becomes king in 2941. So it's been like,
oh yeah, it's been a couple
like
170
years,
yeah.
So think about this would be like if that's 170 years, right? Roughly 170 years. So think about it's 2020 right now, or 2019 right now. We'll round it to 2020. So think about something happening in 1850 and then some prophecy being like, oh, this person shall return. Mm-hmm. We don't know when, but he shall. And then it's like, would we still be talking about that now?
Right. Probably not.
And of course they didn't have they didn't have photographs or anything like that back then.
Right.
So there was no proof that this, so it's just like, oh, that's just kind of this legend, this old wives' tale that, surely there's no substance to it. It's just this thing that people said.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
good point.
But here he
is,
before your very eyes,
flesh.
Right before your very eyes, here he is.
And Bilbo says that he looked every bit of the king.
Yeah.
Despite his, ragged appearance.
Yeah.
So there was clearly something, in his blood.
Absolutely.
That made people really believe that it was him.
So So yeah, that's kind of the big, that's maybe the most momentous thing that happens in this chapter is the return of Thorin as the king under the mountain, right? And he was never actually the king before, but he's the heir to the throne, right? He's the heir to the throne of what's the name of the kingdom?
Moria.
Erebor.
Oh.
Well, that's the mountain name.
Oh. Mine's.
I feel like I've got the wrong name there. Anyway. Man, it's hard sometimes to keep up with all the Tolkien names.
I know I'm not much help either.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, another interesting little footnote. It talks about graybeards and gammers, right? At one point, right?
Yeah.
So I was just in that word gammers, and there's a good note on that in the annotated Hobbit as well. I found this really interesting because in Sam, he always refers to his father as the gaffer.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So Gammer is the female version of gaffer.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Gammer is the female version of gaffer. And it says on page 248 here of the annotated Hobbit, it says, a gammer is an old woman. The term is often used contemptuously or humorously. In origin, it is apparently a contraction of grandmother. Gaffer is the corresponding term for an old man. So, yeah.
What's the context in this chapter? I don't remember.
It's just talking about how all the graybeards and the gammers are like, talking, or like astounded that the king is actually returned now.
Right. Okay. That's right.
Let's find it here.
That's fine. I'm good. I just didn't remember that particular incident.
Blah, 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 blah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I thought it was interesting how when they finally get into the banquet or the hall where they're all feasting, and there's some of the elves there, right? Some of the Wood Elves are there because they've been the ones that have guided the boats down the river, right?
Yep.
And so when they see the dwarves, they're like, "What? What in the world?"
Yeah.
And then they try to say, "Oh, we had them in prison and they're bad people and all the things." But then Thorin he handles himself very well.
Yeah.
He said, "Well, we're not in your land anymore."
That's right.
And we were wrongly imprisoned anyway.
In your face.
Yeah. And then the Laketown king is like, "Yeah, good point, Thorin.
Guess you should have known you were dealing with a dwarf king."
Have some beer and wine and food. Yep.
But the Wood Elf king does find out, right?
He does,
So we learn about that in this chapter, and he's like, well, we'll see. I don't think they're going to survive their little interaction with Smaug anyway, but
if they do,
I'll
be able to get some of the treasure.
I am going to make sure I get some of that treasure when they come back through the Mirkwood.
Right.
Because that's the only way back.
Right.
So,
did you not know?
But not if they reclaim the kingdom, right?
Well, yeah, if they can stay,
Yeah.
they won't have to come back that way.
So in your face.
So there you go. Mean old Wood Elf king man. Not cool. Did you not know what a fortnight is?
I can never remember what it is other than just a video game that people
Do you get it mixed up with score?
About.
I get it mixed up with score sometimes, like 4 score.
That's 20, right?
I think so.
If fortnight is 14 days, is 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how long they're in Laketown, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get treated really well there.
They do. They take really good care of them.
They get new clothes. They get their beards trimmed. They get food.
It'll be interesting to talk about. We're getting close to doing another movie episode, obviously.
Oh yeah.
And you've seen The Desolation of Smaug, right?
I have. Yeah.
So you probably remember they really change this a lot.
I don't remember hardly anything.
So we'll talk about that when we get there, but it's an interesting thing to note that they change it so much. So, but yeah, they kind of make it a lot more exciting than it is in the book.
Well, you kind of got to.
If you want to, or you could just make one movie or 2 movies instead of drawing it out into 3 movies. But we'll talk about all that when we get there. All right. So yeah, Greybeards and Gammers in Laketown seeing the Master. We can read this little poem. I like, this isn't, it's not the great ultimate poem or anything like that, but it's a cool little poem nevertheless. The king beneath the mountains, the king of carven stone, the lord of silver fountains, shall come into his own. His crown shall be upholden, his harp shall be restrung, his halls shall echo golden, to songs of yore resung. The wood shall wave on mountains and grass beneath the sun. His wealth shall flow in fountains, and the rivers golden run. The streams shall run in gladness, the lakes shall shine and burn. All sorrow fail and sadness at the mountain king's return. Interesting little, I hadn't thought of this before, but the streams shall run in gladness, the lakes shall shine and burn. That doesn't sound like a good thing for the lake. All the rest of this sounds good, and then it's like, the lakes shall shine and burn. Why would you want the lake to burn?
Don't you think just it means the reflection of the sun on it, maybe?
That may be what they mean, but a little foreshadowing there.
Oh, from the dragon?
Perhaps.
Oh,
Perhaps. Greta.
Good note.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we will see.
All right.
Shan't we?
Yes, we shall.
All right.
So,
the end of the chapter.
Yep, setting off for the Lonely Mountain.
They set off.
Hi ho,
and what's
hi
funny
ho.
is they actually didn't think they were going to go.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't it say that the Laketown people thought they were just bluffing? They're like, surely they're not really going to go.
Yeah, why would they, right? You're going to go take on Smaug? Really? They're like, oh yeah, we are going to take on Smaug.
Watch us.
So
now they're off.
Yeah, the only person thoroughly unhappy was Bilbo.
He had a bad cold.
Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, I laughed out loud.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Poor Bilbo.
Oh, poor Will.
He's the hero, though. That's for sure.
Yeah.
They would not. And yeah, the elves the dwarves, I feel like, are liking him more and more and appreciating him more and more with every passing day.
You know it.
They would not be where they are if it weren't for him.
Most def.
No, they'd still be imprisoned in the elf wood kingdom.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else to talk about for this chapter?
I think we've talked enough.
All right. Well, hopefully the next chapter will be a little more exciting.
Hopefully.
I think it will.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All
Good.
right. All right. Haiku time.
Haiku time. Let's do this.
Just got to pull up the...
We could do a song from Greece instead.
Just got to pull up the right theme song here. Oh, whoops. Wrong theme song. All right.
Oh, I liked that one. Is this it? Oh, yeah. This is it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 syllables in haiku.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 syllables in haiku.
Boom. All right. Rock, paper, scissors time.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh,
Boom.
Man.
I'm back.
You are.
The
My streak
haiku
has been
champion
broken.
has returned. All right. Here we go. Prophecies of a returning king, and Bilbo durstn't use the ring.
Durstn't?
Yes.
Is that a word?
Yeah, it's a word Gollum uses.
Durstn't. Oh.
Yeah,
I
we
like
talked
that.
about that.
Did we?
Yeah.
He doesn't. That's true. He doesn't use the ring. He's very careful not to become invisible. Well done. I like that one.
Right on.
All right. Here's mine. Men are nicer than elves. Welcome dwarves with open arms. Well done, Bilbo.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks. I wrote it while we were recording, so.
As you do usually.
As I usually do.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Moving on. Anything else?
Moving on. All right. That was a very short haiku segment. Good done. Good
Isn't
job.
it usually?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
Good.
right.
So we're done?
Hey, if people want to, it's been a long time. I know we stopped doing haiku for a long time, but if people want to send haiku, we'll get back to doing that too. If you want to send haiku, and we'll read them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, correspondence. So.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, a good bit of correspondence for this week.
Oh, nice.
Dude, I know I told you about this offline, but did we talk about? Did we talk about in the last episode? Mike Sikora.
No, I don't think we did.
So he's got this cool collection, and then and he's got this tattoo, and we were like, hey, I was like, hey, send me it's a tattoo of the Fellowship on his forearm. So I was like, send me that tattoo. Send me a picture of that tattoo. So it's kind of, well, let's see if there we go.
So cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
I was wondering how you would get a tattoo of the whole Fellowship on your forearm, but it like wraps around.
Wraps all the way around.
That's really cool. And it's like a shadow, like it's shadows.
Yeah, I know. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like silhouettes.
And it's a really well done tattoo too.
Yeah.
Like you can totally tell who each of the members are. You can pick out Gandalf and Legolas and Gimli and Frodo. It's really good.
Most definitely.
Shout out to Michael Sikora's tattoo artist.
Uh-huh. All right. Anyway, thanks for sending us a note, Mike, and thanks for showing us that awesome tattoo.
Yes,
really cool.
It is really cool.
And keep in touch.
Yes.
Keep in touch.
Do.
All right. Oh, let's see here. Okay. Got a couple of nice notes from another listener, Ben. Ben has corresponded with us quite a bit actually in the past. He sends us lots of notes, and he's really knowledgeable. Like knows a lot about all things Tolkien. Really
cool.
Especially about the Legendarium. So he said. He said he was really nice. He said, "Hey guys, I'm so sorry to hear about these negative reviews. I honestly think with how far you've come and the effort you put in, you don't deserve those kinds of things with no explanation." We agree. If I was to leave a 1-star review and had to think of a reason why, again, I do not support these actions. It would be that maybe the earlier episodes aren't as good of audio quality as the ones now. That's true. Mm-hmm. I can hear that. It's like, it's like anyway. That's the only thing I can really think of.
Yeah.
Because we're incredibly likable.
Yeah.
I mean, we're like the most likable people in the world. So anyway, he said that's totally speculating, but after all that you've done to fix absolutely everything and make this podcast my favorite, it shouldn't be like this.
I agree.
Thanks. That's awesome that our podcast is your favorite.
Yes, it really is.
People need to listen to more than one episode rather than judging it by the first. Even when I first started listening back in 2015, I didn't mind the audio at all. Like Morgoth, I think some people out there just get satisfaction out of putting others down.
Boo.
Truth.
But
that
it
is true. So true. No matter how many of these people there are out there, keep doing what you're doing. This podcast is a great way to explore Tolkien's works and got me into the Silmarillion, and Tolkien's works are way more than any 12-year-old all the way back in 2015. And Tolkien's works way more than any 12-year-old all the way back in 2015. So anyway.
Wait, he was 12 in 2015?
I think that's how I read that, so...
Wow, and he's read the Silmarillion.
I know.
That's amazing.
I know.
That's really cool.
That is really cool.
Thanks, Ben.
And then he sent us another quick note. He said, also a follow-up to my message on the Wood Elves, Thranduil was a Sindar, and the dwarves of Ered Luin killed Thingol, the king of the Sindar. These dwarves came from Thrain's halls in the Blue Mountains.
Oh.
So, and his other note, I must have already read this one. He said, I think Thranduil is like his favorite character. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I believe that's right. Sorry if I missed that, Ben. I don't have that note right in front of me. So anyway, Ben, always good to hear from you.
Yes,
and
thank you.
Please do keep in touch. Another new note from a listener who is not quite caught up. So whenever you get to episode 156, Paul, this is our shout out to you. So he said, I found your podcast on Spotify while looking for new podcasts to listen to, and I'm absolutely loving it. I will admit that I'm writing this from the past, per se, as I'm only on episode 62, The Ring Goes South, while I'm writing this. I've gone through every episode so far, and it's fantastic to listen to while working. Listening to your podcast inspired me to take my girlfriend through the stories of Middle-earth for the first time. We're going through The Hobbit right now. We're in Flies and Spiders right now with Lord of the Rings on the horizon. I hope one day I can send an email regarding current episodes rather than writing from so far behind. I've been really enjoying the haiku sessions and, of course, the song, and have wanted to participate when I catch up to the show. Please keep up the fantastic work on the show. Thanks for your time. Paul, thanks. Fan from Arizona.
That's awesome. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time to write us a nice note.
Yes, absolutely.
We really appreciate it.
And that's awesome that you live in Arizona.
And send us another note when you're caught up, when you hear us here. And let us know you're caught up.
Yeah.
I expect if you're a binge listener, so this was 3 days ago that you sent this, but if you're a binge listener, then probably won't be too long before you're caught up with us. And we are doing the Hobbit, so maybe you'll dive into the Hobbit and convince your girlfriend to read it.
Yeah.
Or to listen to the podcast too.
Yeah.
So
you guys listen to it together
that's
as
right.
you're going through it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Man, Paul lives in Arizona.
I know.
I gotta say,
so
I saw
lucky.
that and I was like, I don't know what part. I know Arizona's a big state. I'm not sure what part of Arizona he lives in, but I know we really enjoyed the parts of Arizona we went to last year.
And they don't have daylight savings times there.
That is true.
So it's like a win.
Absolutely.
I think.
Man.
Yeah.
Arizona should just take over the world and run everything. All right. Another note from David Bigwood, who of course is also an incredibly knowledgeable Tolkien fan. He forwarded an article about haiku at the Lunar and Planetary Science Conference, which is apparently he works at this Lunar and Planetary Institute.
Oh, neat.
And I've got to read the article actually, but he said he's not a fan of haiku per se, but it is a fun it is a fun event. I think that's how I think I'm understanding that correctly. Anyway, he said again, really nice for something completely different. Don't let the 1 stars get you down. Keep up the good work. They're bullies in middle school, old guys shouting, "Get off my lawn." Who knows why? Nothing to figure out, just happens. You're right.
He is absolutely right.
You're right. It was more, and I appreciate, the putting it all in perspective for us like that, David. It was more like, it was just more like, I think it was more as a way to ask people that, if you haven't yet, leave us that 5-star rating, right?
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, there are, these people out there that think they have to leave 1-star reviews for people, on things that are free and aren't otherwise causing any harm. So we're just asking people to maybe balance that out a little bit.
Yes.
If you're a fan of the show, and leave us that 5-star review, so it encourages other people to listen. So, but always good to hear from you, David.
Yes,
and,
thank you, David.
I got to remember to read this article. All right. And then also heard from another longtime listener. I won't read too much about this one, but Noah Tetzner, and he sent us a really nice episode, and just said,
really nice message.
Very nice message. And he said, "I'm a huge fan of your show," and just had some other nice things to say about us. So we really appreciate hearing from you, Noah, and I expect you're going to hear more from Noah on this podcast, actually, in the not too distant future. So a little teaser of things to come. So yeah,
very cool.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, and we'll mention a couple of new actual written reviews over on Apple. First of all, from 6 days ago. Actually, this may be more like a week ago or 8 days ago now. It says, great representation of Tolkien's works and philosophy. I've been listening to this podcast since I was just getting into my teenage years back in 2015, and it is the greatest Tolkien podcast I've ever listened to. Would totally recommend for casual Tolkien fans, deep Tolkien fans, or even new Tolkien fans. Great for everyone.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think that may be Ben.
I was wondering if it might be Ben.
It may not be, but if it is you, Ben, thank you. If it's not Ben, thank you to whoever it is.
Yes.
So appreciate it. And then I like the title of this one, Manwë Would Be Proud.
Oh, man, that's high praise.
Indeed.
That's real high praise.
I've just become acquainted with John and Greta, and I can't stop listening. I've binged their catalog over the past few weeks, and now that I'm getting close to catching up, I am not looking forward to waiting a week between each episode. I love their discussions and back and forth, as well as their takes on Tolkien and the texts. Very easy to listen to. Both have charming voices, and you can hear the smiles in their speech. Thank you for such excellent and entertaining podcast.
Oh.
Wow, thank you.
That is so great.
That's really nice.
Thanks.
That's really nice.
It really is.
And I know the feeling. I really wish we could do like an episode every day. I wish that like this was just our full-time job.
That would be awesome.
And we just do an episode every day.
Yeah.
And it's not outside the realm of possibility that we could get there one day. It's a long way off, but hey, it's completely in the hands of our listeners, as far as like whether we can make that happen or not. Even just getting to the point where we're actually doing this a week. And I'm really going to try to push us to do it a week right now anyway. But I know the feeling. I know the feeling of because there's things that we're huge fans of and we binge and then they're over and you're like, why is it over?
Yeah.
I mean, that's, as you know, as we've said many times on the show, that's one of the reasons we started this is we wanted people to be able to just be immersed in Tolkien's world. And that's one of the things we love most about it.
Yes.
So, and then let's see, I think there was one more. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I can't remember if I've read this one before or not. Joseph Towns, via Apple Podcasts from Australia, said 5 stars. He said, it's literally like meeting, joining, and sharing with you guys in the love and thrill of discovering Tolkien's unfolding world together. I may have read that one before, but
it doesn't sound familiar to me, but
figured I'd read it again.
Yeah.
If I have.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes, indeed. All right.
Man, we have such great fans.
We do. We appreciate you all so much. All right. Well, and sorry if there's anybody we forgot. I think that covers everything between last time and this time. But if I did forget you, don't be mad. And be
glad.
Send me another note.
Yeah.
And we'll get you on next time.
We'll get you on next episode.
That's right.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Anything else we need to talk about,
Greta? I think that's a wrap, Johnny.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks again to our patrons. Give a shout out to our patrons here. You all rock. Al Taylor, Andrew Herbert, Andrew Thomas, Bethany Engler, Brian Orr, Kat Lane, Chris Loftus, Chuck Farnung, Daniel Delaney, David Bigwood, David Dickinson, Emilio Perea, Eric Bissett, Hunter Johns, Ish of the Hammer, James Applegate, James Lindberg, John Rice, Josh Sosa, Lawrence McGowan, Margaret Lyon, Matt Scarrance, Sarah Murphy, Shannon Stockbridge, Travis Lawheed, Dr. William Hutton, Zeke Farmer, and last but not least, an anonymous admirer from Israel. So
awesome.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, everybody, and we will look forward to talking to you next time.
Indeed we will.
Bye.
Right. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.